The year 2019 is behind us, which means the events predicted in Blade Runner, Akira, and Running Man are now distant memories, washed away like tears in rain or exploded like Neo Tokyo. The present is what matters now, and thankfully, game developers have been predicting the present year of 2020 for quite some time now. Here's a rundown of what video games set in the year 2020 accurately predicted about present day and what they got wrong. So far. I mean, it's been 2020 for like 2 weeks as of making this video. I don't know. It wasn't my idea. Let's just talk about games. Beast Wrestler, if it was at all unclear, is an isometric wrestling game about beasts that wrestle. It imagines a 2020 where genetically engineered animals duke it out for the pleasure of the onlookers. In reality, our genetically engineered animals are meant more for snacking on than for smackdowns, and the only major thing that Beast Wrestler predicted is that the moon still exists? It also cryptically warns only the moon knows the future once you become the domestic Beast Wrestler champion, which really sounds like a vaguely motivational new age Instagram caption. So, points to that, the moon. What did it get wrong? Well, you can buy something called a food gun from the in-game store, which is necessary to feed your beast. Those don't currently exist in 2020 yet, but hopefully somebody kickstarts a food gun by the end of the year because it sounds like a combination of two of America's favorite things. Food and guns together at last. Also, the store sells floppy disks, and it's only a matter of time before Urban Outfitters starts carrying those as post-ironic coasters for the nostalgic techie crowd. Floppies, they're back, baby, and your computer can't read them. Crysis. What did it get right? Crysis' story does not begin until August 7th, so the jury is still out on this one. However, before things get weird with an alien invasion, the game focuses on some tense relations between the US and North Korea, which sadly are still an issue almost 13 years after the game came out. What did it get wrong? We don't have nanosuits that give us superhuman abilities, and we haven't happened upon evidence of an alien race that predates humanity by millions of years, but it's only January, so who knows what'll happen between now and August, I guess. John Romero's 2000 FPS Daikatana is known for its aggressive marketing campaign that used badass swear words as well as being disappointing. Though it isn't quite set in 2020, it's a time travel story about tracking down an ancient sword to stop a plague cure from being obtained by a tyrannical ruler, and it does partially predict how overpriced pharmaceuticals would be in 2020, which is a current problem, unfortunately. It also features a character named Superfly Johnson, and a cursory Facebook search reveals that there is someone with the name Superfly Johnson living in Tallahassee, Florida. So congratulations on predicting that, Daikatana, and howdy out there in Tallahassee, Superfly. What did Daikatana get wrong? Well, we don't have time travel capabilities, which is a major component of the story, and it opens with a virtual assistant actually responding to a character's voice commands without them having to repeat themselves several times, which currently is absolutely preposterous. Looking at you, Alexa. The Xbox 360 launch game marketed itself in print ads with the text, 2020, corporations control everything, with one exception. And lo and behold, corporations do in fact own everything, and it's a bummer. Protagonist Joanna Dark also carries a portable camera called a Cam Spy for collecting evidence, which is now basically something that every person carries around in their pocket, and which some of you are probably watching this video on. Hi, hope you're watching it in HD. Or not, I don't care. What did it get wrong? Well, this is going to be a recurring theme here, but Perfect Dark Zero has jetpacks, like actual functional jetpacks, not just experiments by French guys that result in viral videos. Just about every game that imagines the year 2020 features jetpacks, which we don't have. Perfect Dark Zero also has spider bots that can crawl around and fix things, which hopefully is the next evolution of the Roomba, because my house is falling apart. Like Super Baseball 2020, which we will get to in a moment, Raid 2020 is a game that is not afraid to advertise when it takes place. This year, it follows a man in a trench coat named Shadow as he fights drug dealers at various exciting locations like piers and warehouses. Drugs, piers, and warehouses do still exist in 2020, and trench coats are in again, so they nailed that, but it also predicted the proliferation of the modern gig economy as the police force seems to be outsourcing its efforts to contain the drug epidemic with freelancers. Move over, Uber. What did Raid 2020 get wrong? Well, the game starts unassumingly enough with Shadow chasing down a drug lord named Pitbull, who is a lizard, and it's all in aforementioned piers and warehouses, fairly normal places. But then there's a jetpack, and Shadow makes his way into space and fights gigantic ants underground, which all of those things are things we unfortunately don't really have in 2020. Jetpacks, ants, space, none of it. Super Baseball 2020. What did it get right? Well, baseball, albeit regular non-Super Baseball, does still exist in the year 2020, though the MLB does not currently allow robots to compete. The sport continues to be popular despite the existence of newer, more exciting sports like drone racing and competitive Super Smash Bros. What did it get wrong? Well, you can find videos of robots playing baseball as early as 2009, but it's boring. In Super Baseball 2020, which released for Neo Geo in 1991 and later came to the Genesis, the players wear armor, have jetpacks, and the field is covered with an inexplicable grid, which just looks so cool. As exciting new sports threaten the popularity of America's pastime, hopefully the MLB takes some cues to make regular baseball just a little bit more super. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. What did it predict correctly? Well, somehow, against all odds, the Ninja Turtles are still very popular and continue to be an undeniable staple of modern pop culture. To imagine that the Turtles would still be teaming up and fighting robots in the actual year 2020 was a fool's bet, but it turns out we're the fools, and you can catch the latest episode of Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the Nicktoons network. Check your local listings and keep an ear out on IGN for news about Season 3, hopefully coming soon. What did it get wrong? Well, move over jetpacks. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time assumed that hoverboards would usurp cars as the leading form of highway transport. As a result of their popularity, elevated freeways would also feature intermittent sections of missing road that your average car would just drive off of and presumably explode. Sadly, the things that we call hoverboards in real life 2020 are glorified miniature segways, which don't actually hover and aren't really even boards. Great job, 2020. At least we still have turtles. Tom Clancy's End Wars complicated story begins in 2016 and involves an energy crisis, partnerships between the United States and the European Union, space travel, temporary peace, and the formation of the European Federation, a collection of European countries that band together to become more economically viable than the United States. And that's all in 2016 before things get really heated in 2020. If you squint hard and simplify End War's story down to the United Kingdom believing that there is an economic advantage to rearranging its partnerships with nearby European countries, then you have something that kind of awkwardly resembles Brexit. It's a stretch, but it's kind of sort of a prediction that resembles a modern political issue. Though, just don't think about it too hard, though. Let's talk about what they got wrong. What did it get wrong? The more exciting part of the equation is the sci-fi stuff that we don't have but that End War does, such as tactical high-energy lasers, widespread use of exoskeletons that give soldiers enhanced abilities, robots, and of course, microwave guns. We don't have any of that. However, the United States Space Force is actually a thing, so a future of militarized spacemen is not that outlandish. Great, I guess. These aren't the only games that take place in 2020, though. There is a more recent one. That's right, I'm talking about Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. Will the Olympic Committee this year finally allow talking animals to compete, even in events where it's a little weird, like horseback riding? Is that even an Olympic sport? I don't know. Will Jim Carrey compete in a surfing contest in character as Dr. Robotnik from the Sonic movie to promote the film's home video release? I really hope so. Will Olympic skateboarding piss off X Games fans? Probably, but we'll have to wait and see. How do you think 2020 will turn out? It's only January and it's really too soon to tell, but hopefully we're not all just a bunch of smoldering craters. Seriously. Anyway, on a more cheerful note, please go check out our interview with the director of Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020 when we asked him if Yoshi was a horse and he said he didn't want to talk about it and could we please talk about Dr. Robotnik's bathing suit instead. True story.
He sort of is a horse, really.
まあでもヨッシーは馬みたいな感じなんじゃないんですか？自分がどうなんでしょうかね。
でちょっと話題を変えて、僕はちょっとアピールしたいこと
Okay,
話してもいいで
so
すか？
let's change the topic, and I want to talk about it.
Anyway, for everything video games of the year 2020, the past, the future, and all of the stuff in between, keep it right here on IGN until further notice.